to welcome you to another edition of the New Jack Swing podcast with Stevie Street, Sheldon Taylor, and myself, Nnamdi. How are you guys doing?
Good evening.
Stevie and
Good
Sheldon, how you
evening.
Good
guys
All
doing?
good here.
evening. Doing well. Doing well.
Good evening. I guess you guys might not realize, but this is, well, it probably technically will be on Wednesday, but on Tuesday, but today is our 1 year anniversary. So we started the 26th of March of
Wow.
last year. So, I mean, because we don't have a show on midweek, but yeah, this is 1 year we've been doing this stuff. So 24 episodes in 1 year.
Time, like I say, the time does fly. We kind of flew through them, really, haven't we?
Man.
Yeah.
You know, I remember
Yeah,
the very
so-
first podcast with Sheldon coming in a bit late. That felt like a few months ago, not a year ago. Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I know we got our Blackstreet stuff, but what's been I mean, has there been an episode that you really enjoyed the
I
most?
like the way
Can you
I
guys
just
remember
like the way
any?
the podcast has progressed, and we've picked up like a a loyal listener viewership now. Obviously, with these top tens, they are becoming very popular. It's nice to get a guest on, but we just got to just figure out how we're going to keep it going. You know,
I mean, well, we've not even scratched the surface with our top tens, but I think hey, old school flavor, hey, Mac, yeah, it's yeah, we're just reflecting on this. It's a year that we started the show. Well, it'll be a year on Tuesday, but yeah. But getting a guest would be. The thing is, there's a challenge trying to get the guest in. So like we had Darren Lighty, and then Chucky coming up, but it's trying to get them on a Sunday. It'll be something that we can look into after for season two. Season two starts after Easter. But yes, okay. But yeah, it's I think my highlight. I don't know if there was an episode. I enjoyed the LA and Babyface one where we all thought we were going to have the same number one, and just at the last minute,
yeah, it was
Sheldon decided to say that.
quite a moment that
it
when
doesn't work like that.
quite a moment when
Yeah.
Sheldon dropped his number one on us.
That's right. And I'm sticking with it.
Or when we were doing the, I think the biggest funny one was always our top 10 producers, and then Mr. Devontae Swings, snuck into Sheldon's top 10 after the week of saying he's not a great producer. They said, "Well, yeah, he's my number 9 or 10." So, yeah, that was some funny moments, but it's been great. I mean, I think we'll get a chance to reflect on our 1 year anniversary next time. But anyway, before we get into the Blackstreet stuff, anything that's happened this past week or two that you wanted to bring up? Any Sheldon? Then we.
Yeah, New Edition has extended their residency, so they added some more dates due to the popularity of the initial run. They're going to go ahead and do that. And of course, Babyface is starting to tour a lot more now as well too. So those are the two main ones.
Okay. Yeah, as I said, I think it's an easier gig to do the residency for guest for New Edition. Yeah, but I still think they're bigger. I think yeah, I watch it and I don't think it didn't excite me compared to seeing them doing, say, the Legacy Tour, the Culture Tour, where they had a big stage and they had a whole big production. But I guess you're getting paid to just sit in one place. It's probably easier. Stevie, anything up? Any
There's
new?
a couple of new things that I've heard that I really like. One of them's a new Melvin Riley single. Sugar. He's getting his sugar daddy on. So yeah, it's a nice, smooth R&B slow jam ballad. I thought, yeah, Melvin Riley's still in the game. And then there's a guy called Liflex from the UK. And if you can imagine a vocal sound of, say, George Michael over a Jam and Lewis production, that's what you get on the album. It's very 80s inspired. There's a lot of 808 drum machine sounds. There's a lot of Jam and Lewis melodies. He's put a great album out. It's Flex Education, I think. I think it's called. But check him out. It's called Lee Flex, L-E Flex. He's done loads of albums, but and just check him out. And I found this as well. Bruce Saunders, I mentioned him in the Darren Lighty interview the other night. Managed to find the CD, looking very New Jack with his high top fade. We can relate this to the Blackstreet topic tonight because there's backing vocals on this album from Mark Middleton and Eric Williams. And Mark Middleton, you can hear him clearly on the title cut of this, which is Touch You There. It's one for the hardcore New Jackers have got this album in the collection. But if you're just getting into New Jack or you've just got like the top 20 albums, check this guy out, Bruce Saunders. Well worth checking out. You can probably get this on Discogs or eBay for like $5 now or something. Before all the copies disappear.
Yeah, that cover looks familiar. It really does. Yeah.
Didn't quite. He signed to RCA. He had a couple of single releases, but the album just didn't take off. And I just wanted to ask Darren, does he remember him and what actually happened to him? And it was obviously, I think he was part of I know it's like Bew, the producers, is it Bew and Orpheus have got something to do with it. So through that management. So I think he came and went. It'd be interesting to see if he's still out there, if anyone knows whether he's still out there or not. But good album, this good mix of New Jack, mid-tempos, and some good stuff on this album.
RCA didn't have a strong R&B presence for a long time. I know there was a moment in time where they actually merged with Jive, Arista. It was a merger. They kind of merged with each other at a certain point, but RCA really didn't have a strong R&B presence, man.
Well, the year 91, and I'd say the year before, they had releases from LaRue, from Grady Harrell, and there was a few other bits. They did try. I mean, if you
before SWV
back then, there is a few bits on that label that's definitely worth checking out, but. Yeah, Bruce Saunders.
Yeah, RCA didn't do a good job, man, with their R&B roster, man. They didn't do a good job. They had, like you said, they had SWV and some other people, man, but they just didn't.
Adina Howard, yeah, I think.
Yeah, not a strong presence.
No, Adina, sorry. Shantae Savage.
Yeah, but yeah, that's true. They did try.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we want to welcome guys. M Mac and Old School Flavor. Colin, our guy, what's up? Glenn Brown, Chin Beats, welcome. In case you've just joined in, we started this show 1 year ago, March 26th. Well, in a few days. So yeah, this is our 1 year anniversary, but we're going to do a special of that after Easter. But we were just starting off with some music news before we get into our topic. Today is Levi Little's birthday from Blackstreet, so how fitting that we do this. Blackstreet 702, Drew Hill, Music Soul Child, they're coming to the UK next week. So it might be interesting to see how that goes. Some of us might go, some of us might not, but it'll be interesting to see. Hi Zach, how you doing? So yes. But anyway, you know what?
How many members have there been of Blackstreet? There seems to have been a lot of members. I can't keep up with the member changes, to be quite honest.
So I would say it started off with Joe Stonestreet being the core of it, and Joe Stonestreet, then Chauncey, then Dave Hollister, Levi Little. Then we had Mark Middleton and Eric Williams. Then we had Terrell Phillips. Is it Terrell? I can't remember his surname, Terrell. And then they went back to another level lineup. And I don't know. I would always, most people might say that they first incarnation of Blackstreet, which was Joe Stonestreet, the one who were on the CB4 soundtrack, would have been probably the best. But circumstances didn't allow Joe Stonestreet to continue with the group. I never wanted Teddy to be part of Blackstreet. I thought he should have just been like Blackstreet featuring Teddy, and he could have been doing other things. But the moment he got into Blackstreet, I think he couldn't produce and be as creative as he would have been if he had just allowed the group to do their stuff. And he just continues to bring out other groups. So that was always my
Have
disappointment.
you guys seen him live?
Colin,
Say what?
Have you seen him? Have you seen
I've
Blackstreet
seen-
live?
Oh yeah.
Do you ever get
I
a
saw him
chance?
live. I saw him live back in '96. They played the Hammersmith Odeon. I saw him then.
What, in London?
Okay.
In London. Yeah, I saw him in London.
Well, I didn't know you'd been to London, Sheldon.
I used to live in England for
No,
a
he
couple
used to
years.
live in the UK.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Or maybe I weren't listening when you said. I don't know. I can't.
He was in the Air Force.
Germany. I knew you'd been in Germany with the army, but I didn't know you'd been to London.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I saw them. Oh, go ahead.
No, I lived in Suffolk.
Wow.
Suffolk, yeah, that's a big offer. Yeah, Air Force Base, yeah.
Wow.
I saw them during the New Edition Home Again tour. So it was 702, Keith Sweat, Blackstreet, and New Edition. And this is when all 6 of them were on there. My favorite tour ever. Just 702 had just come out, so yeah, I didn't even bother with them. Keith Sweat was sick, so he didn't show up from Milwaukee. But having Blackstreet there, they did the No Diggity Billie Jean remix. I just seen Teddy. It was as close as Michael Jackson as you can, just watching Teddy, and then having New Edition, all 6 of them do this. Oh man, it was awesome. I'm glad I didn't record it because I could enjoy the show and enjoy it. Colin said he saw Blackstreet in Wolverhampton when Dave had chickenpox. Okay. And MX says, yeah, he wish Teddy didn't include himself. Always wondered what would happen if Aaron was on the track. That's an
I
interesting
still
stuff.
got on my
But
locked away on my phone I remember the last time I've seen Blackstreet 3 times now. On the 3rd occasion in Manchester, I managed to sneak in the Ritz in Manchester when they were doing the warm-up, but I sneaked in before they came to do the warm-up. So I was just waiting around in a little corner. And Teddy walked in with the group, went on stage and did like a 20-minute vocal warm-up. And I feel I still got footage of it. Footage of it on my phone. Did I ever send you any footage of that, Nnamdi? No, I'll have to.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Warm-up footage of Blackstreet warming up. Yeah. I've seen him 3 times now. Not in the night. I never got to see him in the 90s. But it was after.
Okay,
I'd say after 2006, 2 times in London, thanks to VJ of NGS3, because he kind of sorted that out, and I went down to London and I seen him down there, and then once the last time was in Manchester when he was with Keith Sweat.
I'm
Wow.
gonna tell you, when they played the Hammersmith Odeon, they sold the place out. It was packed, man.
They were hot then. I remember that. I regret because they did the Hammersmith in Odeon, and then they came and did, I think it was the Apollo in Manchester. And I regret not going to the one in Manchester. Really regret that.
Yeah, because Case opened up for them. Case was brand new at the time. Yeah, he opened up for them.
I mean, the last time in the UK, I met up with them. They had issues with the promoter, so they couldn't perform. And I went and did an interview with them at the hotel when they explained, we were going to go on stage, and I was able to film them and interview them. And I would say that Mark Middleton just loves singing. He was just like, as I'm talking to Levi and Eric, Mark is just singing, just loves to sing, and you could tell that he was just into singing. And I remember telling Chauncey that, Chauncey, I didn't like you, man. I thought you stole Blackstreet from Teddy, and I'm not happy with you. I was one of those, and he was like, what, you didn't like? I said, yeah, because I'm a Teddy fan, and the fact that he's not with Blackstreet but I've gone to meet you guys, and I can appreciate that you guys, things are different, but I was being honest with him and stuff. But I just messaged Levi to wish him a happy birthday, and he says hopefully, and I said, well, I'm hoping to meet up with them next week, both he and Eric, and with the guys. I won't go to the show, but I'll meet up with them and stuff, and catch up with them. But yeah, Chauncey wasn't funny. He was shocked. He just thought, but he had to understand it. Yeah, there are loads of people who actually do say that that's not the real Blackstreet without Teddy. But if you hear the guy's story, they're like, Teddy they needed, they gave their reasons for leaving and coming back, and so it's a business decision. But I don't take sides. But I know the guys as the guys, and I'm still the massive Teddy fan. So with that, they've released 4 albums. I was very surprised that I was able to pick my 10 songs from all 4 albums. Most of my picks are deep album covers as opposed to the big singles. So it shows how much of a fan I am, that I actually, some of the stuff that didn't get released were one of the things I really appreciated. So, I mean, how hard was it for you guys to pick 10 tracks from the 4 albums or even the singles they've done and really narrow down your top 10?
Go on, Sheldon. I'll.
Okay, yeah, it wasn't really hard. It was, once again, just going back into the catalog, man. It made me appreciate the catalog and then the different voices, man. People always said that because they had rotating members, that really impacted their momentum. But for me, the rotating voices, the rotating members, obviously from a fan recognition standpoint, that could have impacted, from a fan perspective. But for me, I love the fact that there wasn't one particular lead singer, so it gave those album cuts had a significant dynamic, man. They were very unique. They stood in their own. Because sometimes, when you look at groups, there's a good lead singer, and the songs are great, but when you've got multiple voices that are there, it really makes it. When you listen to those albums, it's interesting listening. So yeah.
I must admit, once, because I went back to all the albums, once I got past the second album, I was struggling. I'm not going to lie. I struggled. I know that wasn't at the time when it was released. I did feel a bit disappointed, but listening back to it now, I'm like, oh my dearie me. I struggled with the cover at the time. I liked the album. I thought, what is that cover? It's just like they come out the bar at like 2 a.m. after like, and then I must admit, when I went back to this album, I had good memories of this album, but going back to it now, I'm like, ooh, I'm struggling. I'm struggling now. I don't know if it's, I've got my 10 tracks and I've got 4 or 5 honorable mentions. And I have tried to look at albums, unreleased tracks, soundtracks, remixes. So I've got it all covered, I think, in my top 10 and my honorable mentions. So,
Honorable mentions.
well,
yeah.
I could.
Okay, yeah.
I'll be honest. I could just stick to the first 2 albums if I'm really honest, like most of us will.
Yeah, like most of us, I probably could have just picked all from the first album. Yeah. Hi, Joseph. Hi, Marco. Yeah, but
I would say about the first album, I think a lot of the first, again, a lot of 90s R&B was a lot of the first album. The tracks were based on other tracks that other 70s and 80s tracks that we've all either club tracks, soul tracks, funk tracks. A lot of the favorites. You've got the Gap Band in there, you got DeBarge in there, you got T.S. Monk in. That first album just seems to be every track based off something else. Quite.
And then the second one too. The second one has a lot of R&B interpolations in there. As a matter of fact, really all of them, but the first 2, very strong presence in those areas. Yeah, you're right, man.
But anyway, let's get to
this
week, man. I think it's your turn to go first, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no problem starting.
It's your turn. Go ahead.
I can go first. Joseph is asking about the new Blackstreet album, and I will ask them when I see them next when they come into town, because they were promising to bring out a new album.
Who've we got? Who's joined us live tonight? Anyway, give us a rundown, Nnamdi. Give them all a shout. Who's live tonight with us?
We got Joseph Perry. You got Colin. We got Marco. We got Phil. Let me go back up. We got Mark. We got Marco. Joseph Perry.
We got our old school flavor.
Old school flavor was the first
Chin
one
Beats,
on.
of course. Chin Beats. Miss Swabion back.
Yeah, Chin Beats.
Also say Mrs. Swabion.
We got Zach.
Glenn Brown, Zach with us.
Yeah, Glenn Brown's in. Glenn's going to be around for a bit.
And
And
all
yep,
the
Old School Flavor is always the first
and all
one.
the
eh?
all the anonymous quiet watchers as well. Big shout.
Yeah, which is fine. And just as I said, we're about to start, but this is our 1 year anniversary. Well, 2 days a little bit early, 1 year anniversary. So yeah, we'll do a special after Easter. But I'm going to start off with number 10, and it's from the Another Level album, and it's "Let's Stay in Love."
Let's stay in love.
And yeah, I mean, I have issues with when it came out, the album, I played it and rinsed it, and I worked at Best Buy in Milwaukee, and I remember when people, and I was working in the music department, and I used to just constantly play the album so people could, and I was always stacking it in the front so I could make sure people buy the album and stuff. But this was probably one of the ballads I loved on that album. "Let's Stay in Love" at my number 10
I'm
from
just
Another
was
Level
that-
album.
No, it wasn't. I thought was it wrote by David Foster, but it wasn't. Now looking at the credits.
We're gonna do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that was number 10. Yeah. "Let's Stay in Love." Who's
Go on,
next?
Sheldon, you can go next.
Okay, I'll go next. My number 10 is a remake the group did, and unlike a lot of groups, they were very proficient at doing remakes. They sounded very good. The remakes they sounded very original, very unique, and still true to the original. My number 10 is "Look in the Water." People who may have heard that song, it's to the melody, to the sample. They're kind of replaying the song by Simply Red,
Holding On
back
by
the year, holding back the
Simply Red,
years,
yeah.
holding
Simply
back the
Red.
years.
Simply
Yeah,
Red.
Simply Red. So very, very good song. I love the background vocals. I love the harmonies, and I love that Eric is singing lead on it. They picked he had that nice gritty lead. So very good record.
Have you
But
heard?
how much different is it from Mark E's one?
Oh, you beat.
Yeah, Mark Edwards. How much different is it? Have you heard his version? Is it any different? Is it better?
The original?
The original from Mark Edwards.
Yeah,
Mark E.
yeah, for Simply
Mark
Red.
E.
Yeah, Mike E.
No, not Simple Red. Mark E.
Okay, because the other guy, he's Mick. He's Mick, not Mike. I thought you meant Simply Red guy. I never heard Mike E.
Mike Edwards. Have you heard of Stevie?
Mike E from the Mike E album.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never heard it.
Have you heard his version of it?
I think the
How's his version, Stevie?
the Mike E version is probably a bit stronger than the Blackstreet. That's just my opinion, though.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, okay. So he got "Look in the Water." Okay, and that was from the Level 2 album.
Yes.
What about yourself?
I went for a
Stevie?
cover version. It was originally penned for the first Blackstreet album. It was on the promotional cassette tape, but it didn't make the finished retail version. It was bootlegged. There was bootleg vinyl of it. A lot of DJs who got the bootleg vinyl at the time were playing it, but it was a cover version of DeBarge's "I Like It." I like it. It's like a mid-tempo New Jack groove to it. Bit of a lately bass in there, but that was it as well. You can get it on officially. You can get it on the Greatest Remixes CD, which came out in Japan. If you've not got that CD,
Yeah, but what song are you talking about?
I Like It. Blackstreet. I Like It.
Well, I like it.
Unreleased from the first album. It was on the promotional cassette, but it got bootlegged, and then about a decade later, it came out on a Japanese Greatest Remixes CD.
Yeah, I've had that, which wasn't bad. Yeah, I don't even know where that is.
That's my
Yeah,
number 10.
okay.
Nice, good cover version to start with. Thought they did a good. There's been a lot of cover versions of I Like. Been so many cover versions of that though.
Yeah, I remember telling Elder Buds. He said when I interviewed him, I said, "Yeah, what did you think of that?" No, he knows it was about the Lord is Real, and I'm like, "Yeah, well, we get our paycheck," but he enjoyed the cover of that one. Okay, so my number 9, Strange Enough is from the Level 2 album, Bygones. And I think they should have released this as a single. It has that Eric Clapton, that Babyface type of vibe. And I think it probably
Oh,
would
what
have
did you
done
just say then?
well. Bygones
Yeah, I don't,
on the Level
what
2 album.
thing to it? Sorry, who did you mention then?
Eric
Mate, I'm
Clapton.
getting a yellow card out here already. Probably at number 9. I'm getting a yellow card
Yeah,
out here already now.
but that yeah, it was unique because that record had like that acoustic feel.
Yeah.
It's
So
getting
think about
good.
When Will I See You Smile Again,
I'm getting a
Babyface.
sleeping bag ready here. Acoustic.
It was I think it was a song that actually won
amazing equipment to make music, and you're talking about acoustic.
not the acoustic side, but it's the vibe of the track, and I think it was one of the more powerful tracks. And actually, it was fitting the fact that if you listen to Eric's interview about how they had to get how Teddy had to get them back together because he was finished with them and Mark was finished, and so that sense of so you heard the story about how they didn't want to do the album and they were arguing and stuff, and then they came together and Mark is singing about Bygone. So for me, I'm listening to that and thinking, wow, look at all the backstory, like they're trying to patch up and make up. It's a powerful single. They should have, if they'd released it and really promoted it well, it would have done really well. Because it's different. It wasn't what you expect from Blackstreet and from Teddy. So that's what I liked about that. So, and I wish they'd pushed it out. It wasn't too heavily produced. It was simple and stripped back.
I got worried there because you mentioned
Yes.
Eric Clapton and.
No, but I was talking about even at that point in time, that type of song was doing well was doing really well, like Babyface and stuff. That type of sound was doing well, and they didn't capitalize on that. They would release Wizzy Wizzy, Wizzy Wuzzy.
Wizzy Wow.
Wizza.
Yeah.
Which I just, But anyway, so that's my number 9. Sheldon, what made your number 9?
My number 9 is a record that once again Eric is singing lead, and once again it just shows how when you've got like different singers in the group, it gives each song a unique identity. And the song that I'm referring to is Drama.
Ooh.
And when you listen to Eric sing, that's the origin. I mean, that record comes out, finally comes out like in 99 or something like that. And when you listen to him, his vocal arrangement is the origin of Jaheim's entire vocal style. So because Eric is singing in this, Eric has a unique style to where he sings, and of course, if he's writing, he has a pedestrian type of style, meaning that it's just like it's very measured. He kind of takes his time, he kind of lays out a story, and he's kind of like narrating. So he's not singing a song in a way that other people would be singing songs. I love you, and the dance, clubs or whatever. It's a narrative storytelling vibe, and if you listen to it, you'll hear the origin of Jaheim's vocal style. All the records that Jaheim would make, especially like the ballads, even the mid-tempo records like Ghetto Love and things like that, that's Eric Williams, man.
Yeah, I mean Eric, he's I sent him a message 2 days ago to let him know that we just interviewed Darren Lighty and stuff. And he says, and hopefully we'll see you next week. But he didn't want to be a singer. He wanted to just write songs, and he thought if he sang the song, people would then pick it up. But he's very shy, very reserved, and he's not, he didn't want to be in it. But you're right. That's, I've got a number of things that he led on my list, so that's your number 9.
And I love the fact that there was a vocal, there was a female vocal as well too. They kind of like added a lot of drama to the actual storyline, so that was really super dope. So yeah.
What about you, Stevie?
It's
What's your
interesting
number
because
9?
you've picked your first 2 picks. When I went back and listened to their albums, I thought Drama stood out as the best track from this album. I think that has stood the test of time. The production, I think it's telling a story, and like you say, it's a really, really strong track. And then when I listened to that again, Look in the Water stood right out, but they ended up both tracks. I thought should have put them in my top 10, and I'm like, they've ended up in my honourable mentions, Sheldon. But I think they're brilliant tracks. You know, I really, they are very. They're the picks on these albums that I would listen to. But my number 9 started on this album, the track, but it's not this version on this album. They redid it again on a soundtrack called Have Plenty, I think in 97 was that. And I think remixed it. I Can't Get You Out of My Mind. I think it's got SWV on it. I'm not sure. Is that
No, it was
Beverly Crowder. I think it's Beverly Crowder singing.
Yeah, Beverly. Yeah.
Yeah, because
They had a version that
which
was
is the one on Have Plenty, because
think
that's the version that I like the most.
That's the one with Beverly Crowder. That's Beverly Crowder. Because
Yeah.
when here's the video,
Yeah.
Teddy is singing. He's in the bathtub playing the guitar.
Yeah,
Kinda
yeah,
like Slow
yeah.
Down. Yeah.
Well, it's a lot. I don't know
yeah.
what they've done to that version that makes it better. That makes it better than this one. But it just, again, it could probably because it's the hook. Maybe it's the hook on the record. You know what I mean? Maybe it's the hook.
Yeah, Have Plenty was a horrible
Remix
movie.
with SWV. It might have been that mix, but it definitely wasn't that version. But it's got there's a remix with SWV on, isn't there?
There's one with for SWV. There's one for the Have Plenty soundtrack.
So there's 3 different versions. I thought the Have Plenty.
There were 3 different.
I thought
There were 3
on
different.
yeah, I'm just looking at. No, this one has got credits Beverly Crowder on this one.
But she's on the.
Yeah, so in the video, she was also in the video. So
Yes.
the video for Have Plenty, she was in the video as well
Yes.
with somebody else. I can't remember who it was. There were 2 girls in the video. But then on but what was released on radio was an SWV version.
How do you go? How cool is that for a cover? Like, how do you go from that to that? So will someone explain to me how? I'm no fashion. I'm not no leader in fashion or design, but that looks way cooler than that. Who went with that? Come on, guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Teddy will be-
I mean, but if you look at the back of the CD, Teddy, that was Little Man Production, so he took over that. So if you look at the copyright and print, his label, so he was given full credit on that.
What did you think of that for an album cover?
No, I didn't. I mean, yeah.
Because what I
I'm gonna
don't
tell you,
understand, right? You know when
I
you
saw,
look at that,
Yeah.
right? For the name Blackstreet. Why did they stick with that?
Yeah, with the-
Yeah,
branding these days and how strong
Yeah,
a brand is. Why didn't they stick with that as a brand?
Yeah.
That looks far stronger to
Yeah.
me. But again,
The second- I'm gonna tell you-
what do you think, people out there? What do you think? What
when I saw that second album, I almost bypassed it. I was in Italy when it had come out.
Yeah.
It come out at the same time as the New Edition Home Again album, and I remember just passing.
Yeah, it was same
by
day.
it.
Same day.
Yeah, and I remember, and I didn't recognize the cover. I just didn't know it was a Blackstreet cover until I looked closer. I was like, okay, this is their new joint. But you know, if you wasn't really paying attention, you could bypass the cover, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Although you would say that was their biggest selling album without them featured on it.
Yeah.
So there could have been a logic behind it.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
But I still think that as a branding just looks far stronger. But
yeah, no doubts. No diggity, no doubt. So I mean, think about the cover for the No Diggity. All of them sitting down on the floor. That was the one, another weird one, but anyway. Yeah. But see, what's your number 9?
no, I can't get you out of my mind.
Oh, I can't get you out of mind. Okay. My number 8 is gone from my favorite Blackstreet album, which is the Home Again. The Blackstreet debut album, Happy Home.
Gosh, this is getting. What have you picked here, Nnamdi? Happy Home.
I've picked favorite songs, and I love
Happy Home.
Yeah, Happy Home.
Wow.
And I went over it and over it again, and it was so you had Chad playing the I remember Levi's talking about when they were recording. Chad would come into the studio with different instruments, like an oboe and a saxophone. He'll just be bringing the stuff, and so you can hear Chad playing the saxophone on that, and they would just he would just doing stuff. But I just loved it loved us the vibe of that track, but it was nothing similar to what was happening out there, and I just loved how that stood out, and that was what was making Blackstreet so unique, is that they were different from what Intro was doing or Jodeci, and the different vibe, and you didn't know who to go to. So, um, Happy Home, yeah. So I loved. I mean, as I said, I kept going over it again and again, and really loved the Happy Home.
I think I skipped.
Yeah,
I think
Happy Home. Yeah, Happy Home was dope, man. I loved it, man. That was a great record. I loved the whoever wrote it. I love the lyricism within the record. It was a very uh, masculine sounding record in terms of delivery and the way it was written. So Chauncey did a good job on that record.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, not many people agree with that.
Zach likes it, though. Zach agrees with you.
Yeah, it's like it's Jack.
That's right. That's my favorite line. Will you cook? Will you clean? I love that. I used to always when you say that, yeah. And that reminded me of those 70s R&B records when they would be uber masculine, you know.
Are you willing to work?
Are you willing to work? Yes. I
think it was the lyrics to the whole thing. It was just it was I mean, that album, as I said, most of us will all tell you that was probably their best album. But
he said, "Yeah, are you willing to work to accomplish a dream?" that sounds like some pimp stuff.
Oh, good. Oh yeah. Okay, Sheldon, what was?
Okay, my number 8 comes from the another level album, and Mark is singing lead on this record, and I love his lead, and I love, obviously, Blackstreet probably has some of the best engineered background vocals in all of 90s R&B, and that song is called "I'll Give It to You."
Yes.
I loved it. I loved the track.
You
Catchy hook, and then listening to Mark just sing it from beginning to end, and then at the bridge, and then what happens when he hits the bridge, and then the guys come behind him and start singing behind him, backing them up on the vocal. Very, very dope, man. I'll give it to you.
Great track.
Great job by Mark.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was stuck right near the bottom of the album, number 16. Number 16.
Yeah. I think, but the whole vibe was the fast. It starts off with the fast track, and then they do the slow jams at the end.
It was like almost like I suppose it was one of the few New Jack sounding tracks on that album. Mid tempo, hooky, swingy track. It's probably why it appeals.
That album was sequenced very well. Whoever sequenced that album, it was sequenced very well.
Yeah, I mean, and think about that. I mean, I had Happy Home, but it was between that and Happy Song Tonight, and I and because, as I said, they had some good hidden gems that didn't get released, and I actually told the guys that should have been Happy Song Tonight, should have been released as a Christmas single, because it had that vibe. Let's put on the records and the whole stuff. But yeah, missed opportunity. Stevie,
very nostalgic.
Number 8 for me was going back to the first album, the very Zapp and Roger inspired ballad "Wanna Make Love." I think my favorite bit in that track is like, I don't even know if it's a midnight or a bridge, where they just let the playing soar out. It's just, it soars up to a crescendo, and just takes me away.
So remember, Mike E said that I think Joe Stonestreet sang that and wrote it freestyle.
Wow.
So that's what Mike E said. So he's credited as a writer, but Teddy is also as there. But he said that if I was just playing and he just started to sing it, um, it would have been powerful. But Dave had to re-record it because he left the group and stuff. But yeah, so that's that was beautiful. Love that album. Love that album. Yeah, love that track. Okay, so you want to make love? Okay.
So remind me of your
My
first three tracks again, Nnamdi.
Let's Stay in
Yeah.
Love, Bygone, and Happy Home. So
I'm thinking
my
of all
number
the big
8.
tracks that you've left out by putting them three in. All the big, the ones that the really strong tracks. I'm thinking, not many spaces left now. You know what I mean?
No, well, actually, my number 7. Sheldon mentioned it was Drama. It would have been higher up had the original singer, co-singer, had stayed on the track, because initially Mary J. Blige was supposed to be doing the back and forth. She recorded it. She recorded the vocals, and then she had Jimmy Iovine. And she said, "Get it off," because Teddy didn't go and produce her song. He sent Eric Williams to go to the studio. He was supposed to sing on her album, but he just didn't flow like that, and he left the project. And Casey came and sang with Mary, and Mary just told Jimmy, "Take my stuff off of the Blackstreet stuff." So, because if any of you had watched the Teddy Riley behind the man behind the music, it was on BET. It was a special, and all the stuff that they were about to do for the album. So it would have been we all knew we were reading vibe about Mary featuring the Blackstreet album and stuff, and she was supposed to be doing that part. And unfortunately, when I listened to the lady who sings that part, as much as I love the song, I'm thinking, but this is Mary with the attitude that would have just taken it to another level. So if Mary was on it, it would have been much higher up. But it's my number 7.
Have you heard the version with Mary J. Blige on it?
No.
And has it been leaked?
Yes.
Oh, how was it?
It's everything you want it to be, Nnamdi. Everything you want it to be is right there.
Wow. I would imagine so, because
it out somewhere. I think it's on YouTube. I'm sure it's on YouTube. So someone will send.
Yeah. Okay.
Probably stick a link up pretty soon, but yeah, otherwise I'll have to dig it out for you. But it's everything you're talking about.
Yeah, Mac. It's if loving you. No, it wasn't. It's loving you. It was off Mary's. I can't remember the song. When Casey and Mary's reunion song. I can't remember what the song was, but Eric was supposed to sing with Mary on her track.
Yeah, that was on the Mary album. It
was on the Mary album. But what Eric said is that Mary wanted him to just freestyle, and he's like, "No, I'm not that kind of singer. I need to do my little parts and stuff." And she was like, "No, I want the vibe," and he just didn't have it. And Teddy didn't fly in to record her vocals, so she was upset about that. And she just said, that's fine. And so that's why she wasn't on the Mary. She just refused to have it released. As it is, I don't want to do anything else. I don't know what the track is. I'll look for it and see. Okay, but yeah, that's a Drama would have been high if I. So I'm gonna listen to the Mary album, the stuff. Okay, so Sheldon,
my number 7 is the No Diggity Billie Jean remix. I love that.
So okay.
That's my number 7. I just loved how they did it, and Chauncey is leading the record, and Teddy's doing his ad libs, which is really dope. A lot of different versions. So as a matter of fact, I bought that CD single in the UK as an import, and it was very good, man. Not Looking. There you go. Not Looking. Thank you, sir. That's the Mary and KC. Not Looking. Thank you.
Okay. And low tone also, goodness. Low tone also put it down there, Not Looking. Yeah. Okay.
Number 7.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The first time I heard it was actually at the first time I actually heard it was at their concert, and they were doing the whole Billie Jean, the sort of the dance steps and stuff, and I went crazy. Just goodness, it was just. But actually, they were actually singing Billie Jean in the No Diggity. It was Billie Jean, and they were doing No Diggity, so it wasn't. Yeah, okay, that's a good one. Stevie, Sheldon, what about your number 7?
That was my number 7.
No
No,
diggity.
sorry, I was talking about Stevie.
I've got 2 tracks paired together. I don't know what to do, which one to leave out. The 2 tracks that I've got paired together, the one Sheldon mentioned, I'll Give It to You. And I couldn't, I'm looking at the ballads from this album, and I can't leave. The ballads are so strong on this album that I paired it with Before I Let You Go. So I don't know.
Kind of
I'm cheating here, right? Because I paired 2 tracks, so I'll let
yeah, 2 different tracks, 2 different albums.
Which one drops off, but I can't. That's my number 8. Which one do I go with?
No, we're number 7 now.
That's 7. My number 7. Is I've paired them 2 tracks together. I know I've cheated a bit here, but maybe you guys can decide that which one do I take off. You know what I mean? But I had to get Before I Let You Go in, and I had to get with all the other rest. So there you go. I've cheated. Yellow card for Steve this week. Yellow card. Give myself a yellow card for that. You're on a yellow card.
Would have been one of those.
You're on a yellow card.
That would have been a blue. That's a blue card for
the
you.
Eric Clapton nonsense before. You know what I mean? On a yellow card.
That's a blue card. Okay. We're down to number 6, and it will probably tell you how much other songs are strong for me. But number 6 was a track that we all agree should have remained on Dangerous, and probably should have been a single, and that was
number
Joy.
6. Number 6.
Number 6. It is number 6. Now he's made so many. I love it. When you get the CD maxi single, it has so many great remixes. In fact, my favorite was the Keith Murray remix. I think that was Uptown Joy. I loved all the remixes on that. But yeah, that made my number 6.
If I get another yellow card out here, you're sent off now. You know that, don't you?
Hey, as you combining 2 songs from 2 different albums. But that's that. I mean, I loved, and I wish Levi had more features. I mean, he did some of the ad-libs for Booty Call, but he didn't do enough. But yeah, I mean, great story with Tammy writing it for Michael, and Michael, joining in and stuff. Big fan of that. But yeah, Joy was my number 6.
We give Sheldon stick for his LA and Babyface number 1. Sheldon,
Hey,
he's put
yeah.
Joy
I mean, come on, you. Yeah,
What
I mean,
is
it's a
going
good
on
track,
here?
but you have most people have before you let you go up in their top 3, and you put it down to number 8, and so on number 7. So you even think about not even adding it in there. So I think Before I Let You Go is probably a bigger track than Joy.
Give over.
I would believe it is a bigger track than Joy.
Give over.
But Sheldon, what's your number 6?
My number 6 are 2 I had to kind of combine to.
Combining chocolate. What do you think this is? The supermarket or something like that?
Two for one.
Hey, you know what? Hey, just think of it. Just like drama, just like drama and misery were combined. This is gonna be combined. Okay, so my number 6, the first song, it samples Kool and the Gang's 1973-74 Summer Madness, and it's a dope duet. It's almost like I'll just give you the title first. I'll set it up for you. Tonight's the Night. And when you look at the back and forth between Chauncey and Tammy Lucas, I mean, the chemistry is so perfect, and Tammy's vocals just like floats over the record. I mean, just her delivery, man, is just, I won't say it's underrated because we all appreciate it, when you look in terms of female singers in the 90s, I would really put her number one as the all-time. And Coco is dope, but I would say for me, in terms of being able to interpret lyrics, Tammy Lucas is probably for me the number one R&B female vocalist of the 90s. And then I'm listening to Chauncey do his thing, and they just the blend is really, really super dope. And then the other one that's combined with that is Joy. It's Joy. It's Joy. Again, and the reason why I had to combine it because I had to go back to the group, and I had to show Levi some love because that's like you said, Levi wasn't featured on a lot of records on his own, but his voice and his tone was perfect. I mean, I really believe even before I days.
Oh, we just lost your sound. No, we can't hear you.
Oh no.
he just we just lost his sound.
Better now? Can you hear me now?
Okay, we can hear you now.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So Levi didn't get a lot of leads, man, and his tone and his delivery on that record. And even though Before I Let Go is a record that kind of like people look at as that classic centerpiece on that album, for me, Joy is really the centerpiece of that album vocally. A lot of great songs on there, but Joy, yeah. But it would have been dope to have it on Michael Jackson's Dangerous. But for Levi to interpret it, excellent.
The Tonight's the Night was based off an Isaac Hayes track.
Which one is the one for Summer Madness?
That's in the game there, but I'm Tonight's Tonight is Isaac Hayes.
Right, that's right. You're right. Because the other one, which one is the one for Summer Madness? I forget.
Oh, I can't remember. What did they use Summer Madness on a track?
Yeah, they use Summer Madness.
I don't remember that one.
Okay, here it is. They doing Tonight's the Night. Yeah, because you hear the horns and all that. You're doing the horn sample. They're replaying the keys. Yeah.
No, it's Isaac Hayes, that one.
Which is the record? Which is the record where?
No, they both. It was from both people. I mean, Isaac Hayes had it, and the Summer Madness had it. Because remember, Redman also sampled from Summer Madness.
The two completely different tracks.
No. What it is that they're singing. It starts off with Tonight's the Night, but then you start hearing the undertone of Summer Madness is underneath it as well. But the song itself, the lyrics and the melody, definitely is Isaac Hayes.
Are you talking about that goes diddly 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 diddly? That's Isaac Hayes. It's not.
That's
cool
the beginning. That's the intro.
Yeah.
But when you listen to it, you'll hear the keyboard, the synths to Summer Madness underneath it as well. But it starts off with the intro starts off with Isaac Hayes. But you're right. You got that part. Yeah.
Interesting. So that was your number 6 then?
That's my number 6.
Wow. Okay. My number 6, again, I'm going back to this album, was the very up-tempo, New Jack sounding Make You Wet. I Want to Make You Wet tonight, which the 21-year-old me was just, well, I might have been a bit older then, 1994, I'd have been 23 maybe. So that was my jam at the time. I think the production reminds me of something off Dangerous, actually. But that was like the up-tempo New Jack cut for me on that album at number 6, Make You Wet. And it did it. Probably Effects was rapping on it, or was it? I'm trying to think who was rapping on it.
Was it Butter? Was it Butter on there? Chance?
Yeah, one of them guys. Let me just check the credits again.
I'm surprised. That's a skip for me. I hate the song. I mean, I hate the song. I'm like, what kind of rubbish? I wish they'd take that. I'm like, I wish they'd. I hate that song. I just goodness. I just think.
I hate Drown Papa Don't Take No Mess.
Yes.
Oh goodness, I hate it. I skip it all the time. Even now, if I listen, oh goodness, can I
It's a
just?
very, I suppose lyrically it is. I'm trying. I'm putting myself back in time. That's how I felt when I heard that.
Yeah,
And
he already prefaced my 21-year-old self.
yeah, yeah.
You know.
I mean,
Yeah,
now I
I mean,
suppose.
forget it wasn't much. It wasn't as much the lyrics. It was that little instrumental stuff. I just felt it was just too loud and too overbearing, and it just it yeah. I just yeah. I skipped the track all the time. That track of all the tracks. I mean, I can even bear with
Wizzy
um.
Wow.
Yeah, that's probably the one that
Listen, listeners, you've got to remember Nnamdi here. One of his favourites is David Foster. So if he hears something like "Make You Wet," then it's not going to work for him, is it? David, Nnamdi likes to get his sleeping bag out and his sleeping pills, and
I can listen
he likes to get
anything that
Eric
Teddy.
Clapton acoustic guitar strums out.
Yeah.
So
So he's
James
he's
Brown
saying that.
come on with Papa Don't Take No Mess. It's not going to
Yeah,
work for him, is it, guys?
Anything from Teddy, I have, but that particular track on that album, if there would that it would have been one I would have just taken off from it,
yeah. See, if
But
David Foster
anyway,
would have produced it, if David Foster would produce it, would have been Make Me Perspire. That's what it was. Yeah.
but my number five, and Sheldon mentioned it, is Tonight's the Night. And actually, I'll tell you how how much I wasn't happy when they did I thought they should have had the version with Tammy released first, and then you do the remix with SWV, because majority of us who were proper New Jack fans and all were excited to see Tammy featured on the album, and we would have loved to have that version fixed, that version out, and then you could just do remake with SWV and Craig Mack. There was a good track, but it just didn't capture the vibe of what it was. And I think, I think they should have just did the Tammy version first, then did the remix later on.
Yeah, I didn't like the remix.
Because
I didn't like the remix at all. I hated it.
yeah, I think it was just all over the place, and as I said, Coco's beautiful voice and everything, but it just didn't capture
The romance, the subtleness,
essence, the romance, the vibe
Yeah.
of what Tammy brought to the track and stuff. So yeah, so that was just me. I was just said, but yeah, definitely. Our LP version pretty was the strongest version. I think most people might agree, but I think they went commercial with that one, and it didn't really do well on the charts. So yeah, Sheldon, what was your number five?
My number 5 is a song that was featured on the Get on the Bus soundtrack that came out in 1995, 1996, and it's called "I'm Coming Home to You." And you're listening to Chauncey and Eric go back and forth, tag team on the record. It's called "I'm Coming Home to You."
Okay.
So when you go back to you go on YouTube, it's a great record, man. I mean, it's quintessential Blackstreet, where you're listening to the guys singing and Teddy's doing his vocoder solos and all that. But yeah, when you listen to Chauncey and Eric singing, and then Teddy is doing like the counter melody, singing in the background, really dope, man. I'm Coming Home to You.
I
Check
need
that
to
out.
go back and listen to it. I have got the soundtrack. I'll be honest. I didn't play it a lot. I didn't play that soundtrack a lot. I can't remember what it sounds like, to be honest, Sheldon.
Mhm.
So I need to go back and listen to that.
Yeah. Okay. What about you, Stevie? Then what's your number 5?
It's Tonight's the Night. It's number 5. My top 5 Tonight's the Night.
Okay.
I'm going to say Tammy Lucas made that track. She made that track. A vocal on it's just, it is amazing. But it's despite it being a whole Isaac Hayes record, I think they did a good job.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you think about the sampling, I mean, they had the whole dee dee, but then because Teddy would come up with the sampled, and then they write they write the lyrics on top of it. But it was the vibe between them. Everything I want, yeah. It's that. She was going back to that. Don't leave.
Goodbye Love.
Goodbye love.
Yes.
And which she was supposed to feature more prominently in that, and so that she got the opportunity and really did a massive job. And imagine for people to say, as how much they would prefer to see the original version out there. So I think they underestimated Tammy's appeal to the New Jack fan base.
I thought though, there's a lot of comments
Okay.
coming in about tracks that were on soundtracks. I thought the tracks that did appear on the sound I didn't think they were that strong. I felt they were always left-offs from the albums.
Yeah, they had one on the
I don't think I've heard
on the
an
Soul
outstanding
Food
soundtrack song from Blackstreet. I thought they were just good, half decent tracks, but nothing outstanding. But again, that's my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Glenn saying "Coming Home" she was featured on the Steel album with Shaq.
Yeah, I've got that somewhere. Yeah.
It's also on the Get on the Bus soundtrack too. It's on there too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What's this one? So, Low Tone Capone says "Whispering"
Low Tone
tonight's the night.
Capone.
Yeah.
Tone Capone.
Yeah. So okay. So we're up to number.
We're at
top
number
4.
four.
Okay.
We're at number 4, guys.
We're at number 4. So yeah, I'm going back to the Another Level soundtrack as an album, and I think this was one of the things they did when this single came out. They didn't release the single; they just released it for airplay, which helped propel the album to four times platinum, and it was the Mark at his best in "Don't Leave Me." Teddy was concerned that Tupac had used the same sample for his the
A dream.
I'm mad at you.
A dream, yeah.
Yeah, but
he
he thought that they were trying to sabotage, so they used it for the Tupac "I Ain't Mad at You," and at the same time, but it was such a real powerful, that type of "Don't go, please stay with me, I'll forgive you." Those type of songs in the '90s were really powerful. I'm sorry, kind of songs, and that the fact that he didn't release the single meant that people had to buy the album. And it really it as I said, it really took off. I loved Mark's version of it. Loved how Teddy, how he complimented with the vocoder on that track. So "Don't Leave Me" was my number 4.
Yeah, it was.
But they made a video for that. They made a video for that.
No,
Yeah, they didn't. They made a video, but they didn't release a single in the US. It was
UK. Come out as a single.
not in the US. Not in the US.
All right.
Not in the
I thought
US. In the US, they just
the UK single.
yeah. In the US, they didn't release the single.
Wow.
They just because what they did is after "No Diggity" was number 1 and went platinum, the single, they released the single. No, they didn't release an official single in the US. It was just radio play, and then you had to buy the album. So that's some of the tricks they used to do back then, is to get you to buy the albums. Like, okay, here's the next song. It's blowing up on the radio charts, but you needed to buy the whole album. So, yeah, we didn't get the single in the US at that time, but I'm sure there was an international version of it. Yeah, but
What do you get number 4, Sheldon?
Before I let you go, dope record. Dave's, his delivery was dope. I love the songwriting, very romantic. It's one of those records, during that time in 90s R&B, some of the records lean toward more of like a overtly sexual content. And that record was kind of like, you could just really, he's singing it and you can picture scenes from it as he's telling the story. Just very romantic, great record.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's yeah, I mean as I said, if I have it on my list, I'll go into more. But yeah, that was definitely a good big track for them, and it still is for Dave Hollister as well. I think that's his biggest.
Mhm.
I would think that's his big. If he goes anywhere, that's his biggest song that anyone will know him for that
That's his,
version.
yeah, that's his signature record. Yeah.
That's his signature track. Yeah. Um, okay, so Stevie, what about you?
Number 4, 1996 was quite
Oh yeah, the Goodbye Little Mix. Yeah.
quite a big year for me because I first visited the States then, and I used to go clubbing a lot. I was out every Friday and Saturday night clubbing, and when they released Fix, when I heard that from the album, and it was getting played a lot in the clubs. So I used to jump on the dance floor. So that's a good thought for me. Fix. I like
Would you actually dance or just jump
jump on
on
and
the
do,
floor?
try and do a bit of, what would they say in this? Say drop a bit of foot, a drop foot on the dance floor, as they say. Do a few moves, you know what I mean? I probably look ridiculous now, but I enjoyed the Diesel Call Me mix. I enjoyed the Smooth Show Mari mix and the album mix. Any of them mixes for me, number 4, Fix.
Yeah.
Fix. Wow. I, th- I mean, I could just barely. I mean, I think I enjoyed the album version, but when they came
Have
out
you
with
heard
the
Diesel's
remix
mix
with "Oh
though?
Dirty Bastard,"
Killer mix.
huh?
Have you heard Diesel's Call Me mix?
Call
No,
with
no, not the calling. I'm talking about the one that so what we the video, the one with the
Oh,
video. So
that was
that's
the
"Oh
worst
Dirty
mix, the one
Bastard" and
with Slack in
Fishbone.
it. That was
Yeah,
terrible.
but that was the one that. So he, so that was what that. So he wanted to go after the MT. He wanted to go after MTV. So they were getting a lot of. They were crossing over. So when MTV bring you for to do an unplug, and they would MTV, they were doing the summer jams, and they were like on. So they went for maybe Puffy had done a remix like with an arm with rock with that kind of rock stuff. So I think he just said, "Let me try and do that." But the Fishbone version was like
No.
I would have said, "Look, just do the album version if you didn't have any other one." But it was
but you know what?
so as I
I think
said.
I'm sorry. I think what it is, man. By that time, that record had come out in '96, and it was like it had been out for so long. Now they rolling, into '97. So now he's trying to do kind of what they did, what Teddy did with the Bobby album. That the album was out for so long that instead of just going with the original versions of the songs that were on the album, they were really pushing those remixes hard, man. But yeah,
Yeah, but that was not the remix you put out because it was on MTV. It was like I was like, what is this? I just
right, yeah.
yeah,
But
it was
think about
all
it.
right, y'all. It was
But think about it. That's also at the same time when you got those mashups where you see Maya with Prize, Ghetto Superstar, those kind of mashup records, you
yeah, but
know.
that worked. That was a good song.
Right,
The
right.
fix with the with Fishbone and Oh Dirty Bastard was,
Man,
and they
I
had the
saw the
video, and it just
hey man, I saw the BET, whatever they call it, on world premiere or whatever, and they were talking to them guys, talking to Teddy about that. And he was hyping that situation up like it was a big deal to have ODB on the record because ODD was hot at the time. So yeah, yeah.
yeah. But as I said, what was happening is that they were that song. There was a song. Yeah, Mark did a song on. They were big on MTV. They were just doing. They were even doing album cuts
Mhm.
on their show. So, but yeah, so they were catering. They were trying to cater to their growing pop audience. So like, yeah, we're gonna get Fishbone. We're gonna do that kind of rock stuff. But it just alienated some of us R&B pop. I just didn't even like the song anymore. But anyway, but as I said,
Could have
I
been
like
worse.
the
Could have been worse,
call
Nnamdi. They
me.
could have got Eric Clapton on it. You know what I mean?
Hey, he would have done a better job than Fishbone. I can say that. Um, my number three is it is Before I Let You Go, and I think for those of us because it came out, it was a slow video. It came out slowly, and it was I know I'm about the maxi single. And they had the one that they're supposed to be a live version of it, and they had the different versions of it. But I think the original one was just so it was different from what we were hearing from R&B groups. that type of innocent high school stuff. Can I get a kiss goodnight? As opposed to come into my room and all that stuff what R. Kelly was doing in Jodeci and intro. It was very different. And then and I love the video concept. Just sing from the stage and from right on a porch.
Yeah, like it's singing
It
on the
was a
street
throwback.
corner. Yeah, like it's singing on the street corner.
Yeah, street corner throwback, innocent, very the vibe of stuff. So it's still a track that people will listen to now and really relate to. Yeah, it was good, and as I said, it was Teddy being different. So it wasn't similar to anything else he had done. You could appreciate the production he had in it. So yeah, I've never seen the video. Wow, that's one of the. I mean, that was the second video or third video. But it's a beautiful video. Yeah, you should check it out. But it was a beautiful song. They had Omar Epps and they had the girl from Coming to America as the love interest. A beautiful song, beautiful video, beautiful vibe. Sheldon, what's your number 3?
Oh, he's gone again.
He just put in headphones on.
He's doing
Bluetooth,
something
and then
there,
he just
making something. I'm sure the light to go off there. He's up to something.
No, Chimbi's the highest charting record is No Diggity was number 1, and it actually knocked Ricky Martin's. No, not Ricky Martin. It knocked the mug. Hey, what's that? Hey, Macarena. Is it Macarena?
Was that in? What was that? Macarena,
The
1996.
Macarena. Yeah, Macarena. It knocked the Macarena off of Hey Macarena. All right.
Wow.
It was number 1 for 10 weeks in America. Then No Diggity knocked it
Must
off
have been
charts.
the Mexican. The Mexicans must have put that at number 1.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, Sheldon, I don't think we can hear you yet. So we just
He hasn't spoken
it
yet.
was Lisa McDowell. Yeah, Lisa McDowell. Yeah. Yeah, Sheldon. We've lost Sheldon. Oh yes, it's Viva Loca. No, it wasn't Viva Loca. It's Macarena. Yeah. Hey Macarena. All right. Sheldon, we're waiting. We're buying time to get you back in there.
We've lost Sheldon at the vital top
Yeah.
3, top 4.
Yeah, we're down to our top 3, and then Sheldon decides to go AWOL. Yeah. And Sheldon, are you still there?
I thought actually
It-
before I let you go might have been your number 1, but I think I've worked out what your number 1 is now. Obviously, I'm not going to say it, but so you've already got before I let you go. You've already picked that. You've picked Tonight's the Night and Joy. So you've already picked the 3 ballads, haven't you? The 3 big ballads.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would ever pick my top 2. But Sheldon, are you there?
Try pressing M, Sheldon, on your phone. M. To access the audio.
Yeah, there's no audio coming in from Sheldon.
Normally on the settings, you've got to press M on this thing.
You can pretty much do the Macarena at every song. Yeah, that song was becoming so overplayed, and so it was. I always remember because I was still living in the States when it came out, and when No Diggity knocked it off the top plot, Jay Leno from the Tonight Show had Blackstreet on, and he says for the services to music for knocking the Macarena off the number 1 spot, we can't wait. It was such a big joke of the fact that it was such a mass song, but No Diggity knocked it off.
I mean,
and actually, I can
the UK is known for its novelty number 1s, especially in the 80s. Do you remember that pizza song that got to number 1 in the 80s?
Oh, what's the matter with you?
What's the matter? And the other one was shut up your face. Do you remember that one?
Shut up your face. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was
No,
just us that had novelty records at number 1.
No, I think what happened with the Macarena was it was the dance. It was such a sort of thing. It's almost like Baby Shark thingy. So I think it was just like catchy, and I do remember just what part of the country you're in. I lived in Redondo Beach in Los Angeles, and so that type of song, the vibe. the whole collapse in, and that was early, the mid '90s. There was, I was listening to Alanis Morissette and Blink 185, 187, or 182. Sorry, Blink 182. I was listening to the Backstreet Boys. So you can Smash Mouth, all this stuff. You just listen to all those type of pop songs. So it actually was pretty fun. But after a while, yeah, you can get oh baby shark. After a while, you can get carried away with it. I think when No Diggity, while we wait for Sheldon, when No Diggity came out, the video came out much earlier than the video, and I remember just, without any warning, I remember just flipping through BET and just seeing the video and like being shocked, like where did this come from? I didn't realize that they had worked on the album, not to talk of just releasing the video, and spent over $1 million getting Hype Williams to direct the video. Got the little puppets and stuff, and then I was like, oh, where's Levi? Where's Dave? Because then you start to see Eric and you start to see Mark, and you're like, what's going on? So most of us didn't realize that they'd stopped, they dropped out, and they brought out these guys. And then, with Dr. Dre and Queen Pen. So I mean, it, as I said, it just grew. But I think for a lot of people is that it was a big hit, but I don't know if it's a sustained track and stuff.
Did you see, because I didn't even know this story, did you watch on, I don't know if it's still on Netflix, but the documentary, the Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre documentary?
The fine ones, yes.
Documentary.
So J-Lo co-produced that with the Hughes brothers. The Hughes brothers who did Dead Presidents. Yeah, but, it was probably one of.
You've got to think of, obviously Jimmy Iovine would have been funding he would have been funding Blackstreet, so that video would have run into millions probably. But he probably.
Yeah, it was $1 million. You
can imagine Jimmy Iovine going, get a rock guitarist in and get Old Dirty Bastard in and get, he's probably bankrolling that, That was like, they're really cashing in here, really going for it,
As I said, the promotion was started slowly, but if anyone has, The Fine Ones is an amazing documentary, because what it does, it parallels Dre and Jimmy Iovine from their stories and before the intersection of how they met up. Loved that. But with this Blackstreet stuff, Teddy has said in numerous interviews, not yet on Halftime Chat though, but he has said that Suge Knight was because he was trying to say, hey, come on, let me help. Why don't you come to Death Row? We'll hook you up. And he refused. And it felt as if they were going to try and sabotage the album by doing tracks that was similar to what was on Another Level. And when Teddy went to Jimmy says, don't worry, I'll handle this. And and then they didn't, because both Interscope had Death Row and Blackstreet, and so they kind of calmed down the production of Death Row releases until they got the Blackstreet stuff out. But there's something about Another Level that I just didn't like the production, the sound. I think compared to the first album, I think that was my biggest thing. I just didn't like the production of that.
To me, it was a very different album. I do remember before I actually went to the States, a 12-inch promo had appeared of No Diggity in the record shop. I think it was one copy, and I'm like, they played it, and I was like, is this Blackstreet? When I heard No Diggity, I was like, is this? I was shocked, but I didn't really properly get to hear it till I went to America, and it was all over the radio then. Are you back, Sheldon?
Yeah, I'm back, man. I'm back.
That's great.
What, did you get pulled over by the police or something? What happened?
I am in the parking lot of a business that's closed. So
Were you using the Wi-Fi or what?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. My Wi-Fi just cut off, man. I'm good now. But
Okay.
Crazy.
So we're going to your number 3 there. Was he your number
Okay.
3?
Number
Yeah,
4.
my number 3 is number 3. I'm gonna throw it's
Number
gonna be
4, I'm sure it's number 4, isn't it?
no, I did.
No, my number 3 was Before I Let You Go.
All right.
Yeah, my number 4 is Before I Let You Go.
Okay, number 3.
Number
then.
3 was a record that obviously between 96 and 98, man, Blackstreet was probably the most high profile group out there. I mean, when you look at in terms of what No Diggity did for those guys, they're doing big videos, and then they're doing a lot of crossover stuff. And this record, you know the record, but my favorite version of this record was on an import remix. We all know the Take You There Rugrats joint, and it sampled the Jackson 5 I Want You Back. But on the remix single, Teddy took a bass line. He stripped all the music away, so that pop, happy kids, Take You There. He stripped all that away, and he used a sample. It was a bass line from an Emotions record called Flowers. That record came out around 1976, and it was a bass line, and he put that in there, and they was singing over it. It was dope, man. So that it was called, and that version is called the Rugrats Thug Rats mix. It's called Thug Rats mix. And when you listen to it, it's night and day from the record that we all remember that was on the Rugrats TV show. That was a pop record. This one had more of a heavy bass line sample. So that's my number 3.
How does the fact that a Rugrats get it anywhere? Never mind your number 3, anywhere near your top 10, Sheldon.
I'm gonna tell you because when I heard the bass line from the song, from the sample, from the song, it took me back to the original bass line from where it came from. Because even though when you listen to it, you would not know that it came from a kid.
It was a better remix. It was better than the album mix, but still,
it was better.
It won't even make my top 10. I'll be honest, but if you like it, fair play to you. Fair play to you.
Yeah, I love
Rugrats.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
before I came on air, I was on IG about. Does anyone remember Fraggle Rock from the 80s? Remember Fraggle Rock?
Yeah, I love Fraggle Rock.
Teddy did a Fraggle Rock track. Teddy and Fraggle Rock.
Colin, you're killing me, baby. Colin, you're killing me. I say go back to the bass line and you see why I love it. Okay.
Yeah, I must admit, I hated that song. And that's when Teddy started doing that. He used the same mix for Mark Miller. He just, I don't know where he lost his creativity. He was just that whole. Oh yeah, I think Wizzy Wazza was better than that. I would say. So, but anyway, yeah, and that's his number 3, guys. I mean, that tells you how.
Wow, have you had a yellow card?
It would even be an honorable mention for me.
Have we given you a yellow card this evening?
No, give it to me.
I think that's almost a red.
The flag.
That's goodness.
Flag.
A yellow card, Sheldon. There's definitely a yellow card.
Okay. Old School Flavor is giving you the Thug Rat mix was one of the UK CD singles when Boyfriend Girlfriend.
Old School Flavor. That's right. That's true. That's why I bought it. I bought it in the UK. Yes, sir.
Wow.
Oh goodness. So what about you, Steve?
Number 3 was it's from the CB4. I'll take it back. Because I did say most of the soundtrack tracks weren't. They didn't really do them for me. I thought they're okay tracks, but saying that, number 3, CB4 version of Baby Be Mine, the 6-minute mix. The one, I've gone for their very, very first single. Still a big favourite of mine. There was that mix and the radio remix, which didn't sample it. They kind of re-vocal replayed Robbie Neville, C'est La Vie. I like that radio remix as well. But, the original, the very, very first single with Josie Stonestreet singing on it, Baby Be Mine, classic for me at that time. So that's my number 3.
Dope vocals. Great vocals on the guy.
And we'd all wished it had appeared on a few of the tracks, but it didn't happen. So we're just thankful we got that one.
Yeah, I mean that was
You two guys.
never forget.
I'm going in your heads now. I'm thinking, damn, I didn't put that in my top 10. I put the Rugrats in my top 10. I put the Eric Clapton track in the top 10.
I've actually just listened to
the
I've just listened quickly to the Thug Rat version. It's much different from the original one, and it has a nice, a little vibe to it. So
I can tell, Perry, you think, damn, I didn't put Baby Be Mine.
But it wouldn't make my top 10. But it sounds different. But I would say that the Baby Be Mine, the original version, that hearing Joe Stonestreet, his intonations and how he was pronouncing words and how he was singing. I think I wish the video was. I think the video I couldn't see their faces, so I think that just did them a disservice. But come to think of it, when they changed members so many times, it was probably a good thing that we couldn't really see who was in the original group. Other than the video was just, I think the video could have been better, so we could have seen them and appreciated them a lot better. But yeah, and as I said, it was Blackstreet featuring Teddy. Yeah, so that was definitely a good track. So you've just done your number 3, so my number 2. Now I'm sure nobody would pick my number 2, and I'm glad from my selection that I went through all 4 albums, and this one actually came from the Finally album. So imagine number 2 from the Finally album.
Wow.
And I went back and listened to it again just to be sure.
Are you sure? Because I'm thinking, what are you picking from this? Apart from drama, what else can you pick from this terrible album? Go on, hit it.
And actually, it was one of the, and I think I said early on that there were types of songs that were really popular in the mid '90s, late '90s, that were always good. And this one is called I'm Sorry. I think Terrell does the singing on this one. I just love the story stuff. I love the girls. I don't even know who the girl group that they invited onto it, but it was the If You Look in My Eyes, You Can Say I'm Sorry. I didn't mean to make it.
8th Avenue.
8th Avenue, yeah.
Whoever they were.
I got it, yeah. Loved. I mean, I didn't. Yeah, I love the whole the song. I love the and I was a big sucker, and I still am, for those type of I'm sorry, please forgive me, I'm coming back, don't leave me, those type of songs. And I just loved. I think it's time for bed.
That Misery? Is that Misery?
So Misery comes after it. So when they finish that, they go into Misery.
Okay. No,
so that's
Drama first, then Misery, then I'm Sorry. That's on this version of this.
Yeah.
Unless it's a different. That's a UK version.
The version I have is almost like after I'm Sorry, then it's almost like it goes into Misery. Mm-hmm. But no, it's as I said. I guess I get, guys, if you listen to it and just really embrace the song, I'm thinking you just the whole thing about the track. Yeah, as I said, I played it, and thought, no, man, it had to come up that high. It just narrowly.
And that's a number 2.
Came under. That is my number 2 from Blackstreet. Yeah, it made my when I put up a compilation album with my favorite tracks. That made it on there. Yeah, it never came out, and it's off one of the worst albums they came out with. But they had 1 or 2 tracks that I just really appreciated on that album with Drama. And as I said, Drama would have been high if Mary had sang on it, because every time I listen to Drama, I'm thinking, I wonder what Mary would have sounded like. But I'm Sorry, definitely up there. Yes. Yeah, as I said, I'm sure no one will get that one. Sheldon, what about you? What's your number 2?
My is probably one of my favorite Blackstreet records that are on that first album, and it samples the piano riff from Gangstar's 92 interlude, which was based on
is that Physical Thing?
Yes, which was based on the Aretha Franklin sample, Young, Gifted, and Black. I love that, man. I just loved it. I love the sample. I love the singing. I love the harmony. It's like it reminds me of, it's like Teddy's verse. You know how like when
what track are we talking about?
Physical Thing.
Thing.
Oh, right, yeah.
So like when you hear Mary J. Blige and she's singing over those break beats, like it's like Blackstreet is doing the same thing, but Teddy is replaying everything. That's what it reminds me of. That's like their version, their interpretation of singing over a break beat. But yeah, I love that record, man. I love Chauncey's vocals on it, and then I love how the rest of the group, their vocals they float back in and out, back and forth. Well, Physical Thing is dope, man. That's my number 2.
So I'll tell you something about that track. So it will start off check it out, and I'll say, "Hi, you've reached Nnamdi. I'm not in right now. If you care to leave your name and number, I'm gonna do my thing. I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as I can." No, baby, no, baby, no, baby. Beep. And that was my answer machine. I'm telling you, Figgles thing. Check it out. Hi, you've reached. That was my. Back in the day, anyone would tell you, you needed, that was my voicemail. And I never forget my auntie calling me from London, and I was I was in Milwaukee. I was in college in Milwaukee, and she says, "Yeah, what's with your long answer machine? Don't you know how much it cost me to call you, and you're leaving it? There's a 1 minute." But that was my ringtone. That was my answer machine, man. Yeah, just gotta do my thing, and I love that. check it out. Did it? So when I listen to it, it just takes me back to the college days and stuff.
And the drum sounds were really great because he sampled or replayed the drum samples from a Joe Tex sample, and the drums were real big and real heavy, real loud. So yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. As I said, that was the track. I mean, of all the tracks, yeah. I mean, anyway. I mean, when we go for our honorable mention, you realize that I wanted to be fair. I wanted to cover all 4 albums, and I did. I could have just easily just gone the Blackstreet album and just listed 10 songs from there and just stay there. Apart from, as I said, I'm sorry, and 1 or 2, but yeah. But so when you think about all those songs, but anyway, my number 1 would come up. What about you, Stevie?
So we're on number 2, yeah.
Number
2 now. From what you guys have picked already, I can't believe you've only got 1 pick left. So I'm thinking
yes.
you've got 1 pick left each. This could be. You ain't going to pick this, Nnamdi. I've got a feeling Sheldon could pick it at his number 1 because it is a number 1. But you've already had Joy each. But mine, I can't decide between 2 and 1. They both could be number 1 for me. I can't. It's killing me. Even the listeners, I know the listeners they're gonna have this at number 2 or number. I know they're gonna be with me on this. But these are the 2 best tracks. So, oh God, it's killing me. We should be number 1 and we should be number 2. Number 2, probably because it's based on a sample. That's the only reason it's not a number 1 because the sample is so familiar. So number 2 is from this album, the final track, the bonus track, Giving You All My Loving, is it could be number 1 though. It's killing me not to be there. It's just what a track. What a track that is. Number 2. Oh.
With Markel doing the rap. Yeah. That means
and Nnamdi's like, that's another one I've not picked. It's not even in my top 10.
No. I went through. No, I mean, I went through versions. I went through versions of my. I went through different versions. I scribbled and scrabbled. I went through a lot of. I went through and listened again. I'm like, yep. When I'm thinking about it. So okay. So you've got physical. It's a physical thing.
That's my number 2.
Hey girl, let me do my thing.
So we're gonna have to go through honourable mentions and you run down from 10 to 2, Nnamdi, before picking one.
I mean, if I go through my honourable mentions, I've got the wrong list out there. Off the Level 3 album, I was able to find Why.
Yeah, nice track.
I thought that was a good track. And I said, okay, they really put some effort into that. And I actually had looking.
Yeah, they flipped the human nature.
Yeah, Human Nature. So I thought actually this was not a bad track. They didn't release it, didn't get promotion. Look in the Water. I thought, okay, yeah, that was a good track there. Um, Brown Eyes, Miss Brown Eyes. I actually did like. I thought it was actually a nice, simple track. So that's an honorable mention for me. Um, and I'm as I mentioned, but yeah, but for me, I mean, a lot of the tracks that I would have listed as an honorable mention are, I put Physical Thing, You Blow My Mind. I
Yeah,
like the
we
way
hadn't
you work
talked
it.
about that record much. You Blow My Mind. I remember at the time everyone was singing along to that record.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They even came out with a
I didn't
video.
like the
You Blow
remix.
My
I'll be
Mind, and they
honest.
had.
I didn't like them Craig Mack mixes, but I did like the album mix.
Yeah, I mean the Craig Mack one wasn't too bad, but yeah, but it was a good one. And Giving You All My Loving was my honorable mention as well. And yeah, and I told you Happy Song Tonight. I'm gonna take this records off the shelf. So those were honorable mentions. Um, that yeah. So if I go back, going back through my list. So my number 10 was "Let's Stay in Love" from the Another Level sound album. Number 9 was "Bygones" from the Level 2 soundtrack. That's the Level 2 album. 8 was "Happy Home" from the Blackstreet album. I'm surprised people did. Number 7 was "Drama." Would have been higher if Mary had featured in it. Number 6 was "Joy." All the versions. 5 was "Tonight's the Night." Number 4, "Don't Leave Me" from the Another Level. Number 5 was "Before I Let You Go" from the Blackstreet album. Number 2 was "I'm Sorry" from the Finally album. And number 1, I think, whatever versions you think about, there were two different versions, but I think this was probably um, it's definitely my favorite Blackstreet single, um, and this is probably where I love the fact that Blackstreet, where you had three different vocalists normally, who would always bring something unique to the game, and Eric brought something unique with "I Can't Get You Out of My Mind." I love the whole story. I love the whole drama behind it. I love the fact that it wasn't a Teddy production. It was an Eric Williams type of stuff, and he, his story was the fact that he actually Teddy did the remix for the Have Plenty soundtrack, um, which he didn't think needed to have the remix, but it was done just to make it a different track and stuff. But yeah, I just loved the track. And actually, when I think about the fact that I didn't like the sonic sounds of Another Level, this was the only song that really didn't sound like everything else on that album. Love that song. Yeah, Can't Get You Out of My Mind.
I mean, it's a great track. You know what I thought was going to be your number one, apart from Before I Let Go, was the Billie Jean mix of No Diggity. I thought that because you did a few weeks ago on another podcast, you let that slip as being one of your. I think you might have said it's one of your favorite Blackstreet remixes. Was Billie Jean?
Yeah, remixes are different. Yeah, remixes are very different. But when it comes
I
to
thought,
tracks
maybe
and
that's
stuff like that,
number one then. Interesting.
yeah, no, I mean, as I said,
I'll be honest, I didn't see that one coming, Nnamdi.
Yeah,
but I didn't think your top 10, your whole top 10 is just like, you know what would be interesting is if which CD, if all our top 10s was put out as a CD, like Stevie's Blackstreet's hits and Sheldon's Blackstreet's hits and Nnamdi's, I wonder which one would sell the most. I wonder which one is. Anyway, Sheldon, come on, Sheldon, let's get to yours anyway. There's which one would sell the most? But let us get to Sheldon's.
All right. So my honorable mention, Happy Song, because it had that nostalgic vibe, to it. Another one was a record called No Show. Right around like I made around like right around the time another Level 2 album had come out. Right before that, Kool and the Gang did a record called Kool and the Gang Unloaded, and they had all a bunch of R&B groups that remade their songs. And Blackstreet did a record by Kool and the Gang. It was a ballad called No Show. It was about a relationship between the guy and his woman, his girlfriend, his fiance didn't show up on his wedding day, and Chauncey's singing the record. It's called No Show.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. No.
Don't Leave. Let's Stay in Love. Finally, the title track on the actual Finally album. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, that was the time in the '90s where R&B groups you had to you had to do a Stevie song and you had to put a gospel song on your album. So
Right.
like,
Right.
it's just
Yeah.
like yeah, we'll talk about going to the clubs, but we have a little God is real and bring your family on for your interlude and stuff. Yeah, I was like,
And on the side note, I had back in the days I had a cassette tape and I had It's Time on there with the Winans. And I was playing it at like a get together. They was like, man, that's gospel music. Yeah, man. But Finally was dope because it reminded me of a gospel group called the Winans. Once again, Eric did a great performance on that record when he kicks it off. So great record. Never Gonna Let You Go. The Good Life from the first album with the sample T.S. Monk's Bon Bon V, which is what Bon Bon V means, good life, which is dope. I also like their version of the Stevie Wonder record with the straight drums. Love's in Need of Love Today. Dope.
it was featured in a movie. Oh goodness, Harrison Ford was in this movie, but it was I can't. It was a massive movie, and when Harrison Ford goes into a club in like France or so, they're playing it in the background, "Love's in Need," and it was I was like, wow, you know. So yeah, it was good.
The movie you might be talking about was Air Force One. One of those five.
No, it was no, it was. I'll find it out, but
Okay.
I remember seeing it in the cinema then, and Harrison Ford. I remember seeing it in the cinema, but if you just keep going, and I'll track it down.
Okay.
Um,
Love's in Need of Love a Day. And then I had I Can't Get You Out of My Mind, which was dope. And then my number 10 was Look in the Mirror. Number 9 is Drama. 8 is I'll Give It to You. 7 is the Billie Jean No Jiggity remix. 6 is Tonight the Night with Joy. 5 is I'm Coming Home. 4 is Before I Let You Go. 3 is Thug Rats mix, Take You There. 2 is Physical Thing. My number 1 record, just to give you a quick backstory, is that this record, the way it was written, if you go back to when Teddy's did some interviews about making Michael Jackson's Remember the Time, and he told Bernard Bell, when you write these lyrics, I need you to write these lyrics like Leon Silvers. Leon Silvers, what people don't know, he was an 80s producer who was big, early 80s, Shalimar, Lakeside, The Whispers, and he had a style of writing. It was like a syncopated songwriting style. So if you listen to Remember the Time, the lyrics that Bernard Bell is writing, it's like a circular syncopated style. And obviously Leon Silvers will go on to work with Teddy in the mid to late 90s. And this song that he participated on, he helped produce it, helped write it, is my all-time favorite Blackstreet record on that first album. And that record's called Giving You My Lovin'. Obviously, it starts off with the Earth, Wind, and Fire Body Eye sample. But as they go on, when you listen to it, you'll see Teddy playing the keyboard riffs to Cameo's 1984 She's Strange. So as they go through the records, you'll hear the keyboard riffs to She's Strange weaving in and out of the record. So Giving You All My Lovin' is great because to me, it was all the other records on the first album, they were kind of trendy. That was his version. The up tempos was his version of doing the hip hop soul. The New Jack was transitioning into that. Those were dope records, but Giving You All My Lovin' was like a dope, timeless, up tempo record. And I love how they put it at the end. They didn't put it in the middle, and obviously it was a bonus track, but that record was that was dope, man. I love the singing. Chauncey is doing great. Teddy with the vocoder and all of that. So, giving you my love, and that's my number one.
It's the only time
So
that I've managed to predict your number one, Sheldon. I had a feeling that would have been your number one. It's, you know, it should have, it's killing me not to put it number one on mine.
So M Mac is right. It's Sabrina. So yeah, so he goes to a club with her, and they're playing "Love's in Need" at the back. Yeah, okay. So 60% wouldn't do.
That's
Okay.
right. Thank you, Glenn. That's right. 60% won't do. That's right. You know, I'm ready to join. They break up again, come get me.
Okay, Stevie, with your.
I didn't have very many honourable mentions. I already said I'd already put "Look in the Water" and "Drama," which it was those two were in my top 10, but at first, but I took them out because the other tracks on the first two albums were just far stronger, in my opinion. Confused, which was on the Wild Wild West soundtrack. Go back and listen to that. Sounds good. There was a track left off, finally. They left a track off this called "On the Floor," an up-tempo track. Again, check that out. It's on YouTube. The Daz Diggity and the Billie Jean mixes of No Diggity. And that was it. That was all. With them five were in my honourable mentions. Number 10 was the DeBarge cover version of "I Like It" from the Greatest Remixes Japanese CD. Number 9, "I Can't Get You Off of My Mind" from the Have Plenty soundtrack. "Wanna Make Love" from the debut album. Number 7, I got "Before I Let You Go" and "I'll Give It to You." Number 6, I got "Make You Wet" from the debut. From the debut again at number 5, "Tonight Tonight." From the second album, I got "Fix" and all the good mixes, not the slash ones or the rock ones. Number 3 was "Baby Be Mine." I still can't believe that's none of you haven't picked that, guys, in your top 10. Number 2, could it be, 2/number 1 is "Giving You All My Loving," Sheldon. I completely agree with everything you've said there. Because it is, but what's the number 1? Oh dear. Number 1, I think this is an incredibly special song. I think it's their best song. It's the song that Michael Jackson should have put on his Dangerous album, and I don't understand why he passed on it. It's an incredibly special record. It's just got a special feeling when you listen to it, and it even looks special with the original logo on the CD. But I've gone for Joy at number 1. I just think this is their best record. It's a classic which will stand the test of time forever. It's a 90s classic, this. Unbeatable, untouchable, and number 1 is where it deserves to be. There you go.
Yeah, as I said, I love the different mixes. The first, Glenn's right. That original logo was definitely the thing. I think they forgot what they did the first time around. Beautiful song. It was different, and I think one of the things I would definitely agree is that the songs they released, those ballads, set them apart from what was happening. Joy was a very innocent song. Had their daughters in there. It wasn't what you were hearing from other guys. They were getting a little bit more, as I said, R. Kelly and Jodeci and Intro, and were doing their things differently. And they were coming out with different type of ballads that were like, okay. I think that could have been a bigger track for Michael if he had done it. If he had done it, sang it the way Levi sang it, that type of chilled version of it. Although I know that Levi said that when they first heard the Michael version, it was a little bit more up tempo, like a little bit more joy. So I don't think the idea of slowing it down happened.
It's a good remix.
Yeah. Joy was Michael appropriate. Yeah, it definitely was. Look, so Colin's already taken sides, so he prefers taking him to see
Well,
if we
he's bought
had.
my CD already. He's bought my hit CD. He's got it in the store there. Push to the store. He's a one purchase already for my top 10 CD. I think your CD, Nnamdi, it'll end up in the bargain bin. So the
What you find about mine is mine was a lot more ballads. Actually, it's a lot more ballads. It's not as much up tempo. And a lot of people are probably saying, whatever happened to um, Booty Call or No Diggity, their biggest tracks? How come none of us sort of?
a booty call. Dun, 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 dun. That's a good track. It's.
Yeah,
I think with No Diggies, I've just heard it too many times. We could do a top 10 one week of tracks that we've heard too many times and we can't listen to anymore. I can listen to it, but I've just heard it one too many times. That's the issue with it. A bit like Belle Biv DeVoe, Poison, and R. Kelly. She's got that vibe. Them kind of tracks that I've heard over and over and over again. Do I ever need to hear them again? I don't know.
And Mac, no. So Joy was for the Dangerous album, so that was around 91, and the Butterflies was 2001 for the Invincible album. And the fun fact is that when Blackstreet were working on, and for Teddy and the guys were working on songs for History, what was supposed to be History, but Michael kept. What happened was the whole police thing, that the whole child stuff. When that came out, Michael put everything on hold, and so Teddy and the guys just went straight from the Bobby to finish up the Blackstreet album. And when Michael was ready to go back in the studio for History, Teddy and Blackstreet were already blowing up, and they just didn't have time to work with him. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, release all 3 CDs. So thanks, Zach.
Well, that's the great thing about this. We can guarantee the listeners a completely different top 10 from all 3 of us each week. We can definitely guarantee that. We don't know who's picking what. That's the great thing about it, and we're always getting these surprises, which is a great thing. There is tracks from yours and Nnamdi's that I will go back and listen to. Because I've not listened to Bygones. I didn't listen to it. I'll go back to that and check it out. The great thing about this podcast is it reminds you of tracks that you may have. I like Nnamdi's selection on the Get on the Bus soundtrack. I'll go back and listen to that. Sorry, Sheldon. Yeah, Sheldon's selection. So I'm sure the listeners will go back and think, I'll have a listen. I didn't really listen to that first time round. So anyway, what's happening on Thursday night, Nnamdi? What's happening on Thursday night?
Yeah, so on Thursday night, the legendary Chucky Booker is coming. He's coming live, and so there are 2 things. So Chucky has just done. If you're in the States, you would have watched his Unsung, and so you would have watched his Unsung, and he's producing some tracks with Fred Hammond. And so he's back in the studio. So Chucky, when
Chucky Booker.
Yeah, wow. I mean, when I saw that, I saw Fred Hammond just say, "Yeah,
this is one of those pinch me moments. We're gonna go live. Check that out with Chucky Booker. So pinch me here, will they?"
I just sent Chucky a message. I say, "Hey, Chucky, what's going on? Come on the show." And he says, "Yeah, sure." You know what I did with Chucky? I joked around because when I was trying to get Chucky on the show, I interviewed Karen. I said, "Yeah, Chucky's been reluctant to come on the show," and Chucky saw that and he laughed, and so he sent me a message back and saying, "Yeah, I'm not gonna be reluctant to come on again and stuff." But yeah, so Chucky's coming live. So guys, if you can make it, please do, because I know Stevie's gonna start digging out mixes and stuff that Chucky will be shocked about. But if you guys can come on and ask Chucky questions, because he said Colin, I would say the reason why the first Chucky interview was amazing was because um, I spent 3.5 hours with him in London. We sat down in a hotel lobby and were just talking about everything. And it was like, and so by the time we did the interview, it was almost like, there was no, I didn't need to dig in, and he was just, he was just amazing. And so, yeah, so he's going to be on here. So I want you guys, if you have questions for Chucky, please just, just like this, you just ask them, and he's going to be there to listen and answer them. Chucky's probably one of my favorite people because, as I said, I can send him a message now, and he just responded. And the fact that he's going to come in, talk about his new production, what he's doing, and the fact that he's going on tour. So if anyone is able to join in, please do so. Yeah. So Chucky, yeah. If you saw did you see the unsung, Sheldon? Because we didn't see it in the UK.
Yeah, it was very good, man. A lot of people were, were doing a lot of commentating, talking about his career and everything that he went through. So it was very good. So it should be popping up on YouTube sometime soon. Yeah.
Did you record it for us, Sheldon?
Okay. I'm sorry?
Did you record? I said to you, please record it for us, please. Get your VHS out, VHS tape out, and record it for us.
Yeah, video recorder sent it down to us.
Yeah, and I remember when it was on, my mother, she lives with me. My mother's like 85 years old. No, my mother's 88 years old. And she's watching it. And she said, I didn't know this guy that was that talented, because she knew the songs, but she didn't know his backstory, man. Just how great he is, and his musical diversity, man. And I think that gave him a longevity that a lot of other people didn't have, because he could, just move on from making records and just be a musical director for a lot of groups and things of that nature. So yeah, very unsung talent. He really isn't unsung in terms of his notoriety, but his gifts, oh my God, man, that dude is so talented, man. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, I don't touch the music as much, because I go for the life stories, but it'll be interesting. So as I said, if the three of us will be around on Thursday to talk about the music. And as I said, you guys had questions around his music, please tune in.
Yeah.
But it's been an amazing year that we've had, guys. I know when we started off, we had a script and we're like, okay, so it's my turn to talk. Now, Stevie, you say something about this. And
what top 10s have we got forthcoming anyway?
You know what? We were going to do Guy, because I know you wanted us to look at the Guy album, but because they also released 3 albums, I would assume that most of our tracks will be on the first one. It would be on.
What was it from the top? Getting the first Guy album up and picking, going from 10 to 1 on the first Guy album.
Yeah, once we finished that,
we could do a 10 to 1 on the Future. Or we could do
on the Future album. No, it would be the same day. Yeah. We can do the. So we come back and we're going to do our top 10 Guy album, and then top 10 Future album. So we'll run through that and then run through the Future album, because there are 2 significant albums. And for me as a New Jack fan, I would always say that the Future album was like New Jack for me, but then the Guy album was like. Groundbreaking R&B, in a new direction and stuff.
No, not Guy yet.
No, we didn't do Guy, because the only thing we've done, I think, was Teddy production, but we didn't really do much on Guy.
We're going to really milk the Guy. We're going to milk the Guy for all it's worth, I think.
So are we going to do? Are we going to do all 3 albums or just 1 album?
We're going to do the first 2, but we're going to do them separately. So we're going to count down. So think about the 10 tracks of the debut album. We're going to, individually. So what will be our number 10 on that album? What will be our least favorite to our most favorite? Then when we finish that, we'll go straight into the future, what would be our top 10 of that? Because I think there was 16 tracks of that one.
Yeah, that'll be.
Yeah.
What about we haven't done any female top 10s yet. Any suggestions for female top 10s that we could all agree to do?
SWV top 10.
Yeah.
That'd be a good one. You could do that, can't you, Nnamdi?
Okay.
Do you know enough SWV?
Yeah.
That'd be a good one.
Yes,
Any others? Like Janet Jackson.
I'd sooner do Mary Jane, but I've never been a big fan of Janet.
I'm not a huge fan, but we could do. Surely we could get pick 10 Janet Jackson records. Surely.
I like the fact. So you got your guy David that hadn't spoken. He's like, yep, do Mary. But I would think
the listeners they're getting a taste of what happens offline now. This is more of an offline conversation. This is what happens when we go offline. We argue for about an hour. You know what I mean? About what we're going
to do. Yeah, I think we'll probably. So what we'll probably do after Guy, we'll probably be doing. Yeah, we can do an SWV because they, especially from. They came out with 3 or 4 albums, so yeah, SWV, and then we can think about
done. All them out, but I'd love to do a Watley 10, but I just don't think you're a huge fan.
Apart from Friends, I don't even know what else to put out there. Apart from
6
Friends,
albums, like 6 to 10 albums.
Yeah, I'd sooner do Madonna than Jodie Watley.
Really, we could do a Madonna one.
Okay. yeah. I think her sexy. What was that? Is it Humanate Bedtime Stories? Yeah, I'll probably put a lot of those ones in. Yeah.
Brandy, there you go. Brandy, that's a good one. I like that. Brandy top 10. Could you do a Brandy top 10, Nnamdi?
You know what? I never got past her debut album.
Really?
I didn't even. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, and Monica, apart from a few singles, I never got into. I got Brandy's debut album and Monica's debut, but outside of that,
what about in groups again? What about Mint Condition? Did you listen to a lot of Mint Condition stuff?
I think live, there's probably no act better live than Mint Condition. I mean, I'm sure you could talk about Frankie Beverly and Maze in their heyday, but I think if you listen to a Mint Condition album and you saw them live, they don't skip a beat. It is perfection. I mean, so they're, but I think they had a lot of songs that are very similar. So,
they've done a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I should do a Jodeci. You still doing a Jodeci. We haven't done a Jodeci.
Again, with Jodeci, we could, with their 3 albums, or even maybe the first 2, we could do a 10-1 on the first 2 easily, I think.
Yeah.
And there's an idea.
Is Sheldon frozen? Sheldon, you there?
I'm here.
Okay.
I think we should end the podcast now anyway. I think they're hearing the offline conversation here, so I think we should.
Yeah.
We'll be back. When's our next Sunday night?
Yeah. So yeah, we'll confirm it. It's and more because next week is Easter, so it's more likely the 7th, which is a week after that. But we'll make sure once we confirm to make sure everyone's available on the 7th, then we can post that. But yeah, we're coming back. When we come back, it would be Guy, and then we'll schedule stuff thereafter. Yeah, I mean, people ask about Joe. The first album, he did his New Jack stuff, and he had some ballad. He was a good one, Joe. He doesn't do interviews, man. I've been trying. Rodney tried to get him on, but Joe's like, yeah, I'm not really doing much on the interviews. So yeah, so I'm still working on trying to get Joe. Yeah, I think one of the disadvantages of not being based in the States is that if I'd go to the shows and I get introduced to him, I could get him on, but I'll keep trying. But anyway, but yeah, we'll do a Joe, yeah, because I think he is somewhat underrated because R. Kelly was so dominant that anyone that came under him just felt like they were trying to be like him. But Joe just secretly did a lot of things.
Would we get banned off YouTube for doing an R. Kelly one?
No, we wouldn't.
Yeah,
Look at Nnamdi, it's like, he took the road, doesn't he?
Yeah, man, Nnamdi's about to have a heart attack.
How can we ignore what R. Kelly did, though?
Yeah, there's still people that just, there's still a lot of people that there's still a lot of people that are like, yeah, okay. I mean, they yeah, it's a hard one. I mean, I remember if there's a poll of top 5 songs and there's an R. Kelly one there, you have half the people like, yeah, R. Kells and stuff. They have, why do you put R. Kelly on there? Don't you know what he did? And so it's like, wow, yeah. As I said, music wise, people will still claim and say I don't think anyone has done it better over the last 20 years singing vocally. I don't, whether you're talking Chris Brown or Usher or Aaron Hall and stuff like that. I think R. Kelly just created his own lane, but yeah, that baggage just unfortunately just yeah. But anyway, we got a lot. We've talked about Guy. We've talked about SWV and Jodeci. So we've got a lot. And we've got Chucky coming in.
I know you've not got a lot of CDs, Nnamdi, but do you still have that CD lying around anywhere?
That looks different. Okay, you've covered it. No, I've just listened. I have it on. I've got it on my phone. I had it. I bought it. I bought this. Yes, I think I do. No, I don't have the CD. I don't. It was in the States when I left the States. But I have the whole. I've got the album on my phone. I've got all 4 albums on the phone, and I was listening to it again when I was putting my top 10 together. I was listening to all the tracks to really make sure which one comes in and which one goes out. What about
the Bobby album, Bobby 10-1? Could do that.
I could only give you 7 tracks, and that would be the 7 that Teddy did. I thought that the 3 that LA and Babyface did, Humping Around.
I thought Bobby's one of your favorite.
Good enough.
On a Desert Island disc, you're taking Keith Sweat or Bobby, you told me.
No, I'll take Keith Sweat.
But you still said that Bobby's one of your favorite albums of all time.
It is,
you can't pick 10 tracks from it if it's one of your favorite albums of all time.
Well, can't pick, no, from the Bobby album.
Yeah, if we do a top 10 from 10-1 of the Bobby album, the second album.
The
third album.
I know that there's. I mean, I probably can pick. I can pick 10 songs. But the 3 LA and Babyface songs would not.
Anyway,
Let's
end the podcast.
The 3 of them won't make the list. So College Girl will make it. That was D.O.A. Allen. And all the 7 Teddy tracks will make it. So yeah. But anyway, guys, we'll see you on Thursday. Chucky Booker, please don't forget. Get your questions for Chucky. We want to find out how he still looks at 61. He still looks like he was when he's 31. You can ask him all those questions, but we will see you guys on the 7th. Hopefully, we'll confirm that for our top 10 guy. Yes, David, Keith Sweat. Yep, we can't forget the grand old daddy of R&B to make sure we can. He came from New Jack on the cross, so yeah, and plus he has another album, a new single that's out right now. So anyway, guys. We can't do the show without you guys. We appreciate you. We love you. And next time we come on, you guys need to be able to come on and say some stuff. But anyway, for myself, Stevie, and Sheldon, so we'll see you next time.